Okay, sorry everybody, haven't been able to make a video recently. There's been quite a long story to this. I've been quite busy getting my Eagle Summit on the road and having some fun with it. But
too much fun.
there's a saying that goes around that there's life after death. But has anyone ever heard of the saying, there's death after life? Well, me being a teenager, everybody that's a teenager has done something stupid in their life, and this is one of those times. I've got my Summit. It looks like we're doing some regular servicing, but you're wrong. It's a little more in-depth. I drove out to the lake this weekend and went for a visit out to our farmland. It's 120 acres, and we decided to open up the throttle and go as fast as we could through the grass. And it turned out that there was a rock that seemingly came out of nowhere, even though it's probably been there for a million years. But the grass was growing all around it. We didn't see it, and we hit it.
You hit it.
Well, I hit it. Whatever. And I knew something went wrong because the front end launched off the ground, and I quickly stopped. I threw it in park. I looked underneath, and transmission fluid was leaking everywhere. So we were an hour out of the city, an hour away from home. There was no possible way to get home. So luckily I had CAA. I called them, and well, my mom called them, and they came, picked up the car. We got a ride home from a friend, and so now here's the aftermath. We've now pulled the pan off, and there's a nice hole, you know. Let's see if I can flip it over here without spilling it. And here's from underneath. As you can see, it was dented in pretty good. And I've actually have a transmission for my parts car hanging from up here. That's what the pan should look like, non-damaged. So now,
The process of changing.
now that the pan is off, we pulled the filter off. The filter is toast. It's just over there. I'll show you that in a minute. And it actually just ended up being a couple bolt holes. I can't even find it. There you go. Ended up being there's a stud there that or a screw that was just stripped right off that used to look like this one. You know, it's just in there. But there were still two bolts that would hold in the transmission filter. So really, I don't have to be changing any parts other than the usual parts you do when you do a regular transmission flush. And this car was actually due for a transmission flush, as you can see, well, as you saw earlier in the transmission pan, that it was kind of brownish. Even though the transmission is still fine, it's not burning it. Now, the transmission wasn't the only thing that was damaged. We have another issue where the lower control arm mounts and actually sways. That is actually supposed to look like a fucking mosquito. Hold on. Where the hell is it now? It's supposed to look like that. And there's a difference. So we should be able to bend it back. But I need a new pan, and this is actually the filter. It's all warped and chewed up, and there's that bolt that got severed off. So if I just change this and have a couple less bolts holding it, well, it's actually one or two less bolts holding it, I should be okay. I thought for sure I was going to be pulling this engine out and changing the transmission. So that makes me a little more happy to know that, well, I don't have to do so much work. It's just gonna cost me a little bit for doing something so stupid. Oh well, you live and you learn. Well, I know nothing about transmissions, nor have I ever really worked on one, except for changing transmission fluid in a filter. I've never actually gone in depth in repairing a transmission. So, I noticed that this funky piece here, this is that part that was up there, and I was mentioning just busted these things off, the studs, but I looked on the other transmission and I noticed that there's another wall that's supposed to be here that's supposed to seal up the filter to the transmission. So if I just slapped it all back together, that wouldn't be good, because then I would be not filtering as much transmission fluid as I should be. So that kind of defeats the purpose of having a filter. So I pulled it off, and now I have all these little passageways showing. But this little unit here also came off with a little ball, a little spring, and this little screen. I don't know where they go, so I'm hoping I'm gonna catch it when I pull that little piece off this thing. I have no clue where these go. If anyone knows where these go, message me, because who knows, I still might not know where they go by the time you get by the time you comment. So I'm gonna try and change these parts and get a new filter and put the thing all back together and see if she goes. I have no clue what I'm gonna do with that. It's just sheared right off compared to that one. Where the hell is it? There.